Hey, good people, welcome back to another video. Today, we are talking about why you get stuck in the pattern of starting and stopping and never finishing. And this is going to be like my intention for this video is for you to get through it and not only just get through it, but also understand why it's happening and giving you a tool or tools of how you can resolve this issue so that your goal that you're working on right now, like we're in March right now, there's no need for you to fall off right now. If you've already fallen off, this is time for you to get back onto it, okay? We've been talking about project sprints and we've already set up our project itself for the sprints. But there's going to be one thing that you want to be mindful of because it's a sneak attack. It comes in hot and heavy and you don't even know it. And that's the reason why you keep falling for it every single time. And that is dopamine. Whenever you're starting something new, dopamine it's the fresh start drug, okay? It's the fresh start hormone. What happens is because it's a fresh start, because it's something new, even if it's something you've done before, if it's something that you haven't done in a long time, it still counts as a fresh start. That dopamine hormone is going to be up in in there, okay? It's going to be strong. It is going to give you the rah, 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 let's go, we got this. Listen, the motto of dopamine is variety is the spice of life. So, with that fresh start, the minute that what you're doing, that new behavior or that new activity, the minute it becomes mundane, dopamine starts to drop off. When dopamine starts to drop off, then it almost signals your brain as if what you're working on is no longer important because we're not getting dopamine from it anymore. See what I mean by, addiction? So your brain becomes accustomed to the frequent fresh starts. So when it's no longer a fresh start, then your brain tends to discard it as something else. Like, we don't need this anymore. And it treats dopamine as if, no, we need the fresh start in order for us to focus, in order for us to have momentum. And that's not the case. Instead of you needing dopamine for your focus and for retention and all of those things, what you actually need is a sustainable system. You need structure. And a lot of times when we are planning things, if we don't have structure, then that's the reason why the plans go to the wayside. It's not necessarily that you have a discipline problem. It's not that you're lazy or anything like that. You want to do the work. I want to do the work, but we don't set ourselves up for success because we are not creating a structure that allows us to know exactly what we're working on when we are working on it in a sustainable capacity. A lot of times we can overplan things or we can underplan it. We can make it very general, make your plans very general. And when your plans become incredibly general, then it's easy to just pass them off to the side. So, for instance, if your goal is to start your business, we'll use Jessica as the example. We used Jessica in the last video. So for Jessica, she's restarting her particular or her service-based business. Now, if she just said that today she's going to work on her service-based business, do you think any work is going to get done? Probably not. And it's because it's not specific enough. What are you working on for your service-based business? Are you going to do content? What content are you going to do? Are you going to post something on, are you going to post short form content today? On what platform? Are you going to post long form content? On what platform? You have to get specific. So when you don't get specific, then it's easy for what used to be the fresh start and the excitement, it's easy for it to become blah, for it to become mundane. So you move from an excitement phase, and instead of transitioning into an execution phase, you just fall off completely. It's like, goodbye. I'll see you next year. So the reason why that energy drop hits when things become mundane is because one, you're getting cognitive overload. And you're getting the cognitive overload because you're not being specific enough on what the task is that you're doing for that particular day, or what is this weekly focus. Also, decision fatigue. You're working full time. You have, like I always say, you work full time and you have a whole life. And now you're adding this new project onto it. There's a lot of decisions, whether they're minor or major, that you are making throughout the day. It's very easy for you to become fatigued through that. But if you make the decision ahead of time, the only thing you're having to do is look at a list or we'll say look at a list and you already know what it is that you're working on and you just get to it. Or you're looking at your calendar. You already know what you're working on for the day. Also, unrealistic expectations. That would be another reason why that happens so fast, because with unrealistic expectations, we can kind of over romanticize things and not realize that that's not how it works in the real world. Or we think that one thing that we're working on may take, 20 minutes to do when in reality it takes 2 hours. So it becomes a little, a little frustrating at times. Or it's lost its novelty. Oh, this isn't fun anymore. Oh, I don't feel a certain way anymore. So when that happens, you have to know how to fix it. And so, real quick, we're going to go through how you can fix it so that you can get back to action because we're working on sprint one right now. So, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set tiny wins. You have to set the smallest wins. Again, if you have set up your project plan and you know that you're in your first sprint, and if you haven't watched the project plan video, I'll pop it right here. But you've created your project plan and now you're working on, we'll say your sprint is a week. So you're working on the first week work. And let's say that that first thing that you're going to do or the next thing that you need to do is create a newsletter. You need to actually write out your newsletter. Well, there's steps into writing out a newsletter. Maybe your smallest win can be you've outlined your newsletter. The next one is you've created the rough draft of your newsletter. Then the next one, you've completed your final draft of the newsletter. Each one of those is a tick to I did it, I did it. And you still get that dopamine hit. One thing I will never forget, my anatomy and physiology professor in college, we were talking about dopamine and its impact and effects to the body. And we were talking about how, listen, if you're a to do list person, then every time that you scratch something off of your to do list, you are getting a hit of dopamine. And that was my thing very much. I'm not type A, I'm probably more type A minus B plus, right? And so with me being that way, I'm very much a to-do list person. I am a planner. I'm a planner's planner. If it's on the list and I get to scratch it off, I'm a happy girl. I feel accomplished. That is the same thing. You have your tiniest wins and you're able to scratch it off and you get that sense of accomplishment. That sense of accomplishment is what's actually building up the momentum. It's not the novelty of a fresh start. It's, hey, I completed something. That's going to give you a greater hit of dopamine. Just gonna let you know that. Because if you still want your dopamine hits, higher quality dopamine behind the things that you finish. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to reconnect with your why. Why is this project important? Why are you doing this? If this project is important because it's going to be another stream of income for you, listen, put that on a poster board and put it in front of your face. That will help you get the work done. Another stream of income. If you have to put a dollar amount on there, listen, 10K. Okay. It's 10K behind. One thing I like to phrase behind different projects or different tasks that I have to do is there's 10K behind this task. That will motivate you to get that task done because there's 10K work like waiting on you. There's 100K behind this task. There's $1 million behind this task because that task is building up a foundation of what you'll need in order to progress further and further to get closer and closer to said goal. Then you're going to focus on what you can control. Now, listen, it is so incredibly easy to focus on all the things that we cannot control. Talk about the things that's going on, talk about the things that we see and that we hear, talk about things that other people are going through. If you can't control it, compartmentalize and throw it to the side. It's okay. You have permission to do that if you needed permission. I don't think you need permission, but then systems and routines. Systems and routines are going to be important, and we'll talk more about that. You'll want to make sure that you have intentional systems in place. Actually, what you're building right now is a system in and of itself. You're building out an execution system. You know how to set the vision. You know how to like say what the goal is, whether it's for the year, for a quarter, for your 12-week year. You know how to do that. It's just you're struggling with finishing, which means you're struggling with executing. You're building out your execution system now. For this particular project that you are working on, listen, what is the system? What does that system look like? It looks like, listen, I know what the goal is, the objective, what have you. I know why I'm doing this. I know the deadline and I know all the tasks. I've created a list of all the tasks that need to be done in order for this to be done. I've also defined what done looks like. Done is not perfection. Done is done. And so we ship out done work. We don't ship out perfect work. But then in addition to your systems, you're also going to need routines. Your routines, like they all depend on what your capacity looks like. If you're working full time, you have a family that you're taking care of and you're supporting, and then you have other obligations. What does your time look like? What does your energy look like? What does your attention span look like? You have to take all of those things into account And sometimes that means you have to do things like an audit, like you have to do a time audit to figure out what your time, energy, and attention looks like. When you do a time audit, you're able to see exactly how much time you honestly really have on a typical week. And then also being able to forecast what do the following weeks look like? What is the time looking like? What can I get done in that time frame? What boundaries do I need to put in place? All of those things are things you're going to have to think about. Also, seeking accountability. Accountability starts personally first. If you don't have personal accountability, no one else can hold you accountable to the things that you're wanting to accomplish. If you don't have personal accountability, you're going to frustrate whoever you decide to choose as an accountability partner. I've been in multiple situations where I was either the accountability partner and was incredibly frustrated because the person wasn't taking their own accountability, or I was the person who wasn't taking their own accountability. So trust me when I say accountability starts with self first. Once you're able to, like, listen, I'm holding myself accountable to this, but I need some extra support, and I'm giving that extra support permission to call me out on my mess, you're in great hands. But if you don't have that set up and if it's not structured that way, it's just going to be frustration and nothing's going to get done. And then lastly, you want to pause. So there's a difference between pausing and dropping off. Pausing on a project means, listen, I'm going to take a beat for this week, but I'm getting back to it. Or I'm taking a beat for this week because I'm sick or because I have a pressing priority or, a child is sick, the spouse is sick, and not to even be speaking sickness over people. We got this trip coming up. I just don't have time to be working on the project during this trip. You pause, but you don't drop off. You come back to it and you make the commitment to come back to it. And the way that you do this, when you're doing your project plan, you have already listed out what your obstacles are, the mitigation plan for that. And we're talking obstacles that are external, that are internal, that are mental, that are physical. All of those obstacles count. You have to mitigate for all of them. This is what happens when you turn your idea into an actual real project and you complete it using project sprints. You're able to monitor your capacity. You're able to monitor all the things that you have going on. You're able to monitor and manage risks. You're able to mitigate those risks or just remove them altogether. You're able to get it done and get it done in a sustainable way. That's your execution system. So that's the reason why you're able to start strong, but you disappear because you're relying on dopamine instead of a sustainable system. And then you now know how to fix it. I'm Ola, and over here, we are confident executors. We make the plan and then we execute the plan. So if you want more support in accomplishing your goals for this year, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and tune in, and I will see you all in the next video. Talk soon.